Janu halted forward. The point's still not captured, by the way, away from the Eternal. Sorry, the Titans lost that one early in the fight. So the Eternal now don't really have to commit too heavily until the Titans show their hands.
No, Bumper is switched over to Winston, so you want to try and get behind the Orisa shield. It's no good just constantly poking into the Orisa shield. It'll be the supercharger used here by Benbest, so that extra damage going to help try and push the Eternal over the top.
Yeah, that being said, Finzy's very low though. When you can see Slime's in a great position to get some easy damage over the top. Somin Su really doing work on this McCree after that first pick. But we know, Matt, the Titans do well after losing Bumper in a lot of these fights. The Eternal drop the supercharger down, but the Titans just run over the top.
In that situation, that's kind of what the Winston needs to do. Just get behind the Orisa shield, force the Orisa to turn. You can't really kind of redeploy the shield towards the rest of the team. You can kind of get everybody on through. So now we'll see. As Paris switches, they're going to go full on triple tank, triple sword. So they move off of McCree here.
Self-destruct over the top. So Mizzou back and right up there, actually takes a salvo of orbs as he peeks out. It is the Titans with control of the point right now, so the Eternal need to clean them up in this fight. And you can see how important safe positioning is for a McCree here. Sominsu has to lead the rest of his team, now tries a flanking Deadeye. No, doesn't find anything through it there. I'd say line of sight was blocked by Hip. During that Transcendence, there was nothing that McCree could have done. And now the Eternal look to take control once more.
The point will flip back, as I thought for a second there, maybe we have Bumper jump over the top, use like a Primal Rage, try and get some more ultimates out. But with some changes coming in from Paris, you know that they don't have a great ultimate economy. Now you have someone to switch over to Zarya. You can now maybe make something out of this Primal Rage, right? Primal Rage sound barrier coming up here for the Vancouver Titans.
Both teams will probably have the sound barrier. Cruz is getting very close to that one as well. Bumper going in.
Back on Nico.
He has no shield right now, so he drops in, has to go for Primal Rage pretty much straight away. Bumper only just used his shield. He's trying to knock Hip off the edge of the map by the looks of things, but he's getting burst down. Gets a quick bubble from Somin Su, high ground, and then drops back in once more. Soon now going for the point. Oh, Johnny just ate that one. Soon. I think Soon was happy enough to catch Haxel inside that Graviton Surge, but it doesn't work out. Now Soon's going to pay for that one. Johnny with a sound barrier looking pretty darn chunky. And Finzy to the high ground to be desuited. Not what the Eternal were looking for.
Those are just game-changing plays. Now, I remember watching the game with the Valiant and the Charge, and like Hoppa ate like 3 or 4 grabs that came out from Kariv. The Graviton Surge is already ultimate. One of the best ultimates in the game at winning team fights. It's really essential in this meta to land those really sick combinations. With that ultimate, Bumper goes over and he'll play Reinhardt here. So with some control of the point, some more sustain with Reinhardt, you can also get someone too even more charged up.
Well, backs up, then just drops the Graviton Surge at his own feet. The self-destruct is a bit of added value, but soon would have been taken down by some other means, surely. Hip goes over the edge, and I mean, Matt, we technically do have a battle of the best statistical Zarya in the league versus one of the lowest performing.
And I think it shows that at least very early on in terms of how fast both of these Zaryas got their Graviton Surges. Soon, the average time for him to get his ultimate right now, 1 minute and 49 seconds, where Sominsu's under a minute. So you're getting the grab much quicker for the Vancouver Titans. Let's see, right now, Sominsu, look, 34% he just used his. Soon still kind of, a little bit ahead, but not by much.
Bump it down first, though, so Soon finds a very important first target. Although this is often how Vancouver's fights go. They need to find a little bit more than that. Twilight actually is going to use the Transcendence. There's no other choice here. The Titans actually want to commit to this fight, or at least try and hang around a little bit. Oh, that could have been nasty. Sliming over the top. Giving us the heebie-jeebies. Fortunately, a lot of the Eternal have those mobility abilities to get out of trouble quickly. Slime is taken down, caught in the Graviton Surge soon. Places that one quite well. Bumper returns to the point here. Somin Su's grab has been eaten up. The Titans needed all of that stuff to make it work. But now Johnny's going to get desuited, and the Eternal will be able to retake control.
The Bumper ends up using his Earth Shatter when the Paris Eternal use their Graviton Surge, just trying to counter Shatter, prevent players from coming through. Get nothing with it, but Finzy eating that Graviton Surge of Sominsu. You'll have the chance here for Vancouver to get a touch. You have Janu who can use the self-destruct, extend it out, and you'll think Slime will get his sound barrier, but Paris going to go aggressive.
Vancouver being forced off at the point there. Slime barely able to get a touch, and Bumper did, but he's straight down the well. Now Janu, defense matrix on all cylinders, trying to keep the rest of his team alive. Somin Su's going to have to do a heck of a lot of work on that right-hand side, but he was rebuffed, pushed away, almost knocked down the well. Hip off the edge, Slime sends him packing. And now they're going to try and collapse on Assume by the looks of things in the backline. Paris hold the point, but it's not going to be enough. Janu has a self-destruct if he needs to go for it, but Paris have lost Ben Best as well. It's a disaster for the Eternal. And now the Titans can take control of the point. The Eternal have players here. They can stall, but they have to touch. Nico goes down. Finty's going to have to give his life for overtime, but it's not enough. And how about that? The Titans go down to 3. They give the point back over to the Eternal, realizing they would have to come back for one more fight. Matt, they didn't have a lot of ultimates coming into that last fight.
Yeah, if you're Paris, you can't be too upset with how that went. I mean, you're one fight away from winning that first point. It's just Vancouver, a lot like NYXL, like they're down like 1 or 2 players. They stall so well. They do a nice job of just juggling the point, just keeping enough pressure on it to allow them to get some ultimates to invest later. Right, they had sound barrier early on, and then they used that. They end up kind of jumping back and on and off the point to let Twilight gain transcendence, and then they use that towards the end to pick up some eliminations that help flip the point.
So Sue, 70% average energy right now.
That's nuts. Compared to 46% with Soon, right? So we highlighted how big of a difference these two Zaryas, their stage ones, have been. Statistically, number 1 in a lot of categories or near the top for Somin Sue. Soon really kind of struggling, adapting to picking up this Zarya role.
A lot of early damage on Paris here. You can see those health bars dwindling.
Nobody's dealing with it.
Nico's been spotted, Johnny. Actually just hooks back into the rest of the formation. Again, the displacement from D.Va's charge is quite frustrating. Probably difficult for the Eternal to try and actually get the ducks in a row.
And Johnny's so aggressive there, and he comes to the side, and nobody even looks. Like, maybe you turn Discord with a stun. The issue is you probably had Bumper come through the front door. So you lose Hacksaw there. That's a big kill for Paris, because you don't have that Brigitte, that big burst heal for a pair pack, as this first fight's going to go in favor of the Paris Eternal, pushing on forward, trying to gain some more ult charge here after you use the rally.
And this is great. This is exactly what the Eternal want to be doing. Farming up the Titans for some ult charge. They do lose Nico on a little bit of an overextension, but by the time the Eternal return back to the point, Nico will be there.
I love that type of play, though, from Paris, because in Vancouver's only close 2 games, the ones that they've had, against the Shock and then the Charge, both of those teams play really aggressive. When you allow Vancouver to dictate the pace of the game, you're just not going to be able to take their aggression. You need to be the one who's the aggressor in this matchup.
That's a rally from Hacksaw here. Soon just trying to play from behind. Benbez goes for the Graviton Surge. That one was well placed. How do they stop Bumper's shielding here? Well, they don't really. They still get Somin Sue, though. That's an excellent pick to find, though. Huge part of the damage missing now for the Titans, and the Eternal can sit pretty comfortably up on this point. And again, just stagger out the last of these foes.
And there's also something with games like this where one team is kind of playing with their stage on the line, so to speak, with Paris, and then Vancouver, undefeated at this point, right? They most likely end up barring a crazy collapse, and then a lot of other teams picking up some wins in the stage playoffs. Like, this game means way more to Paris right now, as soon you see up on the high ground, you get the Zarya in this position, you put down a ton of damage with the alternate fires in this close quarters. He'll probably end up with another grab in this fight if it's like kind of a traditional fight with how long they go.
Nico picked up though. Johnny got in there. Bumper traded out here on the Transcendence coming out from Twilight, but Benbez has seen better days. He tries to go for the Shatter. Doesn't really get what he was looking for though. Johnny was able to take him down. Finty with a D-Mech. And now the Titans will be able to get back in and control the point, but they've lost a heck of a lot of percentage. All the Eternal really need to do is build up to a winning fight. With 97%, there'll be no chance for the Titans to return.
And with that much percentage for Paris, you can afford to have 1 or 2 fights where you just kind of storm on into some ultimates from the Vancouver Titans and just let them waste them. Vancouver needs to use the ultimates because they know that they only have 1 fight. Let's say they lose it, Paris goes on the point, takes it, it'll be over. So you have to see rallies. The rally and the self-destruct here invested early from the Titans.
How? There was no real setup with that self-destruct. Johnny just kind of sent it forward, and Benbez was still caught out by it. Perhaps he wasn't aware about just how behind him it was.
They are even, though, after Bumper falls here. So an opportunity for Paris to invest. It'll be a self-destruct. Connects with Hacksaw, and they sound barrier.
Both teams going for these just sort of Hail Marys, self-destructs, and they're working out for both, but Paris definitely getting the better end of the deal right now, with Slime having gone down soon, starting to really clean up this fight. The Eternal... No, the Titans have to come and challenge now with less than 6 players, and there's really no chance for them here. Bumper off the edge, Nico Center packing with a whip shot, and we're even on Ilios.
I think at least for the first 2 points, I think Benbez has done a really nice job in the Ryan versus Ryan game. If Bumper's going to constantly be this aggressive, Paris needs to capitalize that, and they've done it thus far. I mean, Bumper right now, way ahead in terms of deaths of everybody in the lobby. I mean, he's sitting at 10, Hacksaw right behind him with 7. everybody else sitting around, 4 or 5. And so, if you're able to catch that Reinhardt off early, maybe you turn into some wins.
Well, I mean, it's been discussed on the best, like how important interrupted bumper, not only interrupted, but also set off. That is insult and injury all in one very nasty little package. Nico, obviously, who is probably most well known for being a Genji player.
Yeah.
A projectile DPS primarily in the past on French teams like Rogue.
Paris has a ton of flexibility on their roster overall. It's they're very strong in this meta, but I actually think in some other metas, right? If some other heroes come back, they could be even better.
Cruz was a Genji player. Finzi, known for hit scan. Heroes. Soon.
I think Cruz will probably stay on Lucio.
You never know, bro. I'm just saying. I mean, yeah, I definitely think Nico would. They've got Shadowbird on this roster, by the way.
Yeah, right.
They're ready. They're ready for the emergence of a damage dealer based meta.
So Paris actually has 2 players on the point here. With the Reinhardt comp, they want to get set up. Ben Best now jumps down. He's playing up on the high ground. It was just Finzi who took the point there with Cruz. Vancouver, I think, just trying to decide how they want to take this fight. They have to be careful. Bumper drops down to half health already. You see, they think they have Hacksaw just caught off in the middle of nowhere.
Oh, Johnny might have
follow it up.
Try and follow up on this one. Yeah, he does. Very clever from Paris. They peel off from trying to chase after Hacksaw, and they managed to get Janu's mech.
Yeah,
really happy.
It's not even really like, you kind of look at that fight and you're like, oh, well, what happened? It's not really even like Janu, the reason they lose that. It's you have Bumper on one side, Hacksaw comes out maybe a little bit too far, he gets weak. Janu's just trying to help out Hacksaw, maybe use some defense matrix, try and keep him alive. And
I mean, it is hard to play in the open without a Reinhardt, though. You're playing Winston.
Well, especially against the Reinhardt comp. On a map like this where the point is in such close quarters, right? The Reinhardt provides so much extra damage.
Ooh, Nico almost got a knock over the edge, but Somin Su gets sent over by Cruz. Beautiful play. The Titans looked like they were together, but they got a wedge driven between them.
And I think the biggest thing for Paris as far as is you built up 60% here, you haven't used anything in terms of ultimates, right? So you have all 6 ultimates on the board. Bumper has to switch from Winston over to Reinhardt, so you lose some ultimate charge there. Janu gets DMEC pretty early, so you have really like a self-destruct on the cards. So we can take a look from Cruz's POV.
It's nice, real nice. And he gets the extra pick on Twilight. The Discord orb. All right, Graviton Surge thrown in though. Sound barrier for the Paris Eternal. They want to fight this one out with a self-destruct over the top, but not much was really found for that one. Janu does have one of his own, but he's going to have to wait once more. The Titans are going to get put in a one-fight situation.
Yeah, I mean, you can invest a few ultimates there if you're Paris, because now if you play close up, they're going to have to use some ultimates just to get to the point. You have Transcendence, and you have this big shatter. So, Bumper still has not even gotten the first one yet. He came out on Winston early on. Kind of set him behind as they send Johnny to the point. You see how low he gets though as soon as pretty charged up.
They needed that so badly.
That's huge.
Somin Su's Graviton was the ticket for the Titans staying in this game, but now it looks like it's all but impossible. Bumper's knocked down, self-destruct in the back. Cruz just took that one. Maybe that wasn't the best idea. Maybe he couldn't get away, but Bumper's taken down by the fire strike. Ben Best is still healthy, and that's important. Soon, though, gets gunned down by Janu. No one really paying attention to Janu on the point right now, and he's able to do so much work. Somehow the Titans take control.
Those are fights you got to win if you're Paris. You eat the grav. It's kind of like your win condition there. You think you can come out on top, but now have the tables turn, right? As Bumper will have his shatter. Somin Su uses the grav, it gets eaten. He's already basically got another one. So you'll have Rally and you'll have Transcendence.
Hoping to get something. And he got Cruz.
This one's definitely not over. I mean, this could go to like 99 territory real quick.
Especially with the Titans have been able to build up in that winning fight. Another Graviton for Somin Su. Another one, by the way. Just as well, he gets him back so much when they're eating. Twilight Transcendence, self-destruct into the back. No one affected by that one, but Paris are looking pretty haggard. Oh, they dead.
All right, but it's a good fight for the Paris Eternal, though. You had them use the Transcendence. You had them use Rally.
It was Cruz in the previous fight. That's what happened.
Take a look at this.
Oh, he knew he couldn't get away. There was no way. He got booped out there. Later, had to eat it.
No, they did use the Trans, and they used Rally. So now you can come back. You'll farm your own Transcendence here for Paris. Get closer towards the sound barrier. We'll see if Ben Best maybe lands like a big game-saving shatter here.
Just one fight. One fight is all the Eternal need. They still commit the Earth Shatter to this fight.
And it's a good shatter, but there's no follow-up.
Yeah. No good. Cruz finds Twilight. Maybe. And they're going to commit to this. I guess they may as well. Transcendence here. If this doesn't work, though, Paris might have thrown this map away. Up on the point. Are they set? Soon. Pushed off. Hip down. Cruz is missing him. Soon is over the edge. They threw a lot into that.
It's like, remember when this map looked so good for Paris and they had all the ultimates towards the end, right? It was just one fight away.
That's got to be communication, man. They were half in, half out of that fight. They have a sound barrier at least. That's about it, though.
It doesn't look good, though. Someone with this grab. Let's see if Finzi can come up with a big eat here.
Time to stand and deliver Paris.
There it is.
Oh, it's eaten! Finzi had to eat the grab and he gets it. Is there more? Yes!
They
Him takes
do
down
it.
Sominsu. Nico was taken down after being knocked to the ground. It was Bumpers Earthshatter that started that one up. Soon caught, though, in a massive enemies, and they're very angry. The Zaya not able to really make the impact, despite Finzi with a huge eat. It's still not enough to get the Eternal out of trouble, and so they hand over map number 1 to the Vancouver Titans.
In a map, Mitch, where Bumper dies 14 times and you still can't come out on top, you play really strong. That's a real rough loss there for Paris. Now, towards the end, Finzi came up with that play, the one that they needed. Eating that Graviton Surge is still not enough.
Communication maybe not at a premium there, 99, and it still wasn't enough. Definitely some disappointment for the Paris Eternal. The Titans looking good. We'll be back in just a moment, though, with map 2 and a very special guest.
The Overwatch League is powered by Intel. Game, record, stream without compromise on Intel Core i7. And by Omen by HP, the official PC and display of the Overwatch League.
Very special guest. Give it up for Anjali Bhamani, the voice of Symmetra. So thank you so much for joining us today. This is so exciting. And Symmetra is one of the most beloved heroes in our game. Our crowd here goes crazy whenever Symmetra is played. So how do you feel to have your voice attached to such an iconic and favorite hero?
It's really one of the most amazing things in my life. I'm humbled, I'm grateful. The community surrounding this game is one of the most powerful forces I have ever seen known to man. The creativity, the kindness, the cosplay, the fan art, everybody is so embracing and everybody is so, is just so good that it's a wildly humbling thing.
We have a wholesome community here at Overwatch. And Symmetra has so many great voice lines in this game, but do you have a personal favorite?
It's so hard. It's like picking your favorite child. You can't do it. I do love that good old standby, welcome to my reality. I like that one because it's a little bit like, you're in my world now. But the ultimate, I mean, come on. When that new ultimate came out, that line, it's kind of like my justice reigns from above. Yahi param vastavika hai. It's so like
so powerful. I am loving it. And Symmetra is one of the few Indian female characters in any major video game, and we just got to talk about how important is it to have characters of all different backgrounds represented in gaming today?
I think it's as important to do that in gaming as it is in the world. And it's not just characters of all different backgrounds, but characters of all different levels of complexity. Because none of us are defined by any one characteristic. We're not defined by where we're from. We're not defined by our sexuality. We're not defined by our gender. We're not defined by our color. We're all a combination of all the things that make us us. And so the more we see ourselves or our stories represented, the more we see a hero that we can identify with, the more we can identify a hero in ourselves. And I think that's really, really, really important in our day and age because the world needs more heroes.
I'm getting emotional. You are preaching to the choir here. And as part of International Women's Day today, how does it feel to be such a strong female role model working in the entertainment industry to everyone, including myself?
Even just hearing that, and this might be a little too vulnerable to say, just hearing that makes me just go, I'm not a role model. But what it makes me realize is that every single person now, especially with social media and the internet, all of us have a voice. And because all of us have a voice, all of us, it's incumbent upon all of us. It's a responsibility that we all have to be the best version of ourselves that we can be. Because someone is listening, someone who needs you, someone who needs support, someone who needs inspiration. Someone out there is hearing what you have to say. So you are a role model, no matter who you are, to someone else. So to me, it feels like a tremendous responsibility, and I'm really grateful to have it.
You're such a beautiful soul. I can't. And lastly, do you have a message that you'd like to share with all the women that make up this beautiful Overwatch community?
Oh my God, absolutely. There are many things and many people and institutions and whatever that are outside of you that will tell you you can't. But nothing, absolutely nothing will be more debilitating than the voice inside you if it says, I can't. So skip over I can't. I can't is, I was going to use a curse word, and I can't. I can't. That's the only I can't I will let you use. But I can't isn't something that should register for you. Skip over I can't and go straight to I do, because it doesn't matter what obstacle you're facing, whether it's a toxic conversation in the game or it's people outside of you, whether it's a school or an institution or anything. The part of you that says you can and that can believe past what you see as possible and into creating realities that you know to be possible, that's the most important thing, because you were meant for greatness.
Thank you so much for joining us, Anjali. This has been such an inspiration to, I'm sure, so many people, and I'm serious when I say I'm so emotional right now. You're such an amazing person, so thank you for joining me.
Thank you. Thank you guys for having me.
And now, in honor of International Women's Day, we also want to give a special shout out to Girls Who Code. Blizzard has shared a partnership with Girls Who Code since 2018 to sponsor two major programs, a summer immersion program at Blizzard HQ and after-school clubs. Last year's summer immersion program included 19 girls who spent time not only learning coding, but also gaining exposure to tech jobs through mentorships with women at Blizzard and workshops, as well as various dev teams. We are also thrilled to announce that this year, the Overwatch League is donating $10,000 to Girls Who Code. And for more information, about the organization, head over to girlswhocode.com and be a part of an awesome cause. And that's it for me. That's it for Anjali for now. So let's set it up back on to Mitch and Matt.
Thank you very much, ladies. Some great messages being shared there. Something definitely carries through the rest of our days. As we continue with the rest of our stage one here, Matt, I tell you what, already the Paris Eternal has shown that they have the capacity to challenge a team like the Titans. They have the ability to take them to the very limit, but they themselves have been their own enemy in that last map.
Yeah, it's much different than go to the end and, play them really close than getting over the hump and winning. In Paris, they don't have a lot of time left in there. While they have a decent amount of games left in their stage, they're all just really hard ones. So they need to get games like that. Like if they fall, let's say a series short, one map and a series short and another one, like a map like that, then game one where it goes down to the wire, they're going to be looking at.
I mean, we are more than halfway through the stage. They haven't quite played half of their game, so they have a lot of work to do.
This surprises.
Oh, it's Georgie
coming in for Sue. Shadowburn.
Why does this surprise you?
So, we haven't seen him yet. But we talked about how Soon may not be performing the best on Zarya.
Right.
Shadowburn has a pretty good Zarya, a really nice Pharah. It's good to see him back on stage, by the way. Last year with Philly, he plays about half of the season. He's like a fan favorite. And then towards the end of the year, EQO comes in. EQO is crushing, no reason to take him out. You know, if you watch only Stage 3 and 4, you just remember Shadowburn from that weird dance video that he had.
That's great. What do you mean? That was.
But no, he's a phenomenal player. A really good Pharah. He can play Reaper. Don't want to see him play Reaper though. Sorry, Malik.
No, I want to see him play Zarya.
Zarya. I expect to see him play Zarya. And then I think on the defensive end, if Vancouver were to run like a Reinhardt, potentially Pharah. Very good Pharah.
Welcome back, Shadowburn, to the Overwatch League, and now the Paris Eternal. We'll have him on that Zarya to defend with. Twilight on the under there, probably just looking for like an early sleep dart, switch off.
You know what, you bring Shadowbird in, obviously, as a player, but I think also, like, you're the crowd, right? Like, they get kind of excited, bring some energy up on stage, right? But you've had a few tough losses. Maybe this first fight goes your way, the crowd starts getting behind you. You can swing some momentum in your favor here.
But have a look, the Titans. They are not convinced they want to commit to that high ground with the Reinhardt, so low ground it is. They want to force the issue. Ben Best with a huge amount of damage in the air, but it was Twilight to get taken down first. Finzy just ducks in, gets the kill he needs, and backs out. Cruz wasn't able to be kept alive by the defense matrix of Finzy, though, when now the kills start coming in. Kip, yeah, not much he could really do there, as Jana was well set up. The Titans are so good at playing together, and Reinhardt allows them to do that and really punish.
Oh, and you know, Ben Best gets so low and he's able to live for a little bit longer, but because everybody has to drop, try and support him, keep him alive, like you end up dropping like 2 or 3 players. It doesn't even matter that you lose the Discord from Twilight there. So now Paris switches over to Reinhardt, so you want to get really close. So you see a lot of teams take this first corner, right? You can rally a few fights in your favor here. It's very difficult to hold the entire time because the offense spawns so close. But we do see teams on defense hold for a little bit. It's like you see Cruz maybe at the top of your screen a little bit wall riding. Trying to get a boop off the side. It was another interrupted shatter there.
Bumper getting nothing and getting taken down by Ben Best there. But Solminsu is still going to be there charged up with damage to deal. The Transcendence is required, but Ben Best, we might not be in position to shield this one. Somehow he is.
Little 360 action.
Yep, keeps his team alive, and Hip was in Transcendence, so he wasn't going to die to that. However, they still lost Nico after the fact, and the Eternal are still going to be forced back. Solminsu remaining in full charge for the entirety of that fight. Nothing really that Shadowburn can do. That's brutal.
Yeah, you know, it was Nico again using, you know, the bash of Brigitte to break up Bumper's shatter. Bumper trying to come in, get a shatter right away. And they actually did a nice job focusing him down, but you know, Paris not able to get anything else in that fight. And they invest a few ultimates. You have Sound Barrier coming in here, but it doesn't look good. No, Solminsu, regardless of who the Zarya is for the Paris Eternal, he's just doing a much better job for the Vancouver Titans, getting the Graviton Surge, keeping that high energy, just pumping out so much damage.
Helps when you stay alive, I guess. Ben Best on the low ground there, but it's only really Bumper they had to worry about. He's very much playing on his own, and Solminsu was taken down by Cruz earlier on. Not a great sign for the Titans. I think if they're happy to lose Bumper, they're probably not happy to lose Solminsu. Twilight down to the Earth Shatter, and this will be a cleanup here.
So you do get a hold here from Paris finally, but I mean, it's Vancouver set such a good time already that like it's a hold. It's a little victory here for Paris, but they're still. I mean, they're going to be forced to hold here for almost 4 minutes.
That first point take looked
clean,
very clean for them. I mean, they even got first pick. They lost someone early in the fight. It didn't really matter. The Titans just managed to grind it out as they have always done.
This is a fight though where Vancouver can steamroll though. Sound Barrier, Transcendence, Shatter, Grab. Everything but self-destruct right now. You they'll have 2 support ults.
Paris need the correct responses to a lot of these initiations from Vancouver. We'll see how it works. So here's the rally. It's going to be a Sound Barrier straight away from Paris to begin this fight. Bumper a little low, no surprise. Now the back away. Transcendence surely will be needed in this particular fight. And there it is. Twilight's going to bring that one out. It's actually Sound Barrier as well. So the Titans actually lay their support ultimates. It doesn't matter. Johnny with 2 and that self-destruct, and Finzy's in trouble. Knocked prone, and Hip just has to drop down. Oh, man.
So really strong combo there from the Vancouver Titans. 4 minutes to get to the end of the map. And remember I was talking about like trying to put Shadowburn in and win that first fight and then get some momentum with the crowd. Yeah, that's not happening right now. As Vancouver just rolling through Paris here. Paris needs to stop in the worst way. Shadowburn gets low and Nico gets low as well, but they do get a kill here on a Hacksaw.
They try.
See if Vancouver decides to back out though.
Twilight going down now as well. Ben Best, Earth Shatter just to clean this one up. A great chance at least to take the burgeoning momentum away from the Titans. You see that Finzi and Cruz, the two of them often are actually looking for those early picks.
But I think you can see like when Ben Best used the shatter there, right? It's like Vancouver's done such a nice job winning fights, with players down. It's like when you get that first pick, it's not like where a lot of other teams you assume right away they're going to back up. You're not exactly sure whether they're going to come back and try and regroup and
You don't
fight
know if
right
Twilight
away.
just turns around and starts transcending.
So you have to kind of think about investing something like a shatter to definitely swing the fight in your favor.
3 minutes and 4 seconds still on the clock for the Titans, so it's been a very good pace. They've set Paris need to shut them down over consecutive fights. And it needs to start here. That's a rally from Haxar. Look at Somitsu. Oh, we're just pushing forward so aggressively. And they eat the grab from Shadowburn. Oh, that can't feel good. One of his first grabs on stage, and it's just not going to be getting through. The Titans just steamroll over the Eternal in that fight. No point even using those two support ultimates they had there. That was just completely one-sided.
And those are the fights that crush you if you're Paris. It's the same thing that happened on the first map. You don't get a good use of the grab. Guess what? Vancouver's going to get this basically to the end of the map here, have Shatter, Grab, Sound Barrier, Transcendence in a self-destruct. I don't think you can hold... That's a good pick there. But yeah, I don't think you can hold a team that's this good with these ultimates for that long. 2 kills, though, here go to Paris. So Vancouver, they did end up investing the Graviton Surge there, and Paris gets a hold. That's big. That's like one of the few times I think this series we've seen Haxall be one of the first players dead in a lot of these fights.
And he's been targeted in multiple of these fights, in fact. We see that as well. I think there are a few teams whose Brigitters tend to get caught up. I think it's about your win rate in a fight where you lose Brigitte is about 16%. So it's not, like as nasty as losing Zarya.
But Brigitte is the only one who can provide any type of burst heal. So if somebody gets really low, it's all you can do. Shatter comes out from Ben Best, connects with 2, but the Transcendence is there for Twilight to keep everybody up.
However, the Eternal can disengage while that goes on. Self-destruct, Johnny not going to be comboing that with anything else. It still finds a kill onto Shadowburn, no less. There was no smoke and mirrors. No finagling of that particular self-destruct. He just threw it straight on in and it worked out, but Haxall's take it down. Bumper stunned up briefly. He has an Orb of Harmony and he needs to try and keep it on him for as long as he can. Transcendence now thrown in here, and this is bad for the Titans. They need to back up, but they can just disengage and go again in just a moment here. They are working with the Graviton Surge for Solminsu. Shadowburn also has one.
And they have to know that Shadowburn has this grab. As Johnny was playing over on the high ground, maybe just trying to bait this grab on the corner and then fly down, use that defense matrix. He almost connects with it there. Self-destruct coming over the top here for Paris. Doesn't get anything.
Yeah, self-destruct not getting what they were looking for. Now Cruz is going to go down first in this fight. Ben Best tries to go for the play, makes the Earth Shatter, but he gets taken down immediately. Shadowburn, all the energy's gone, my friend, and now Finzy's going to have to stall the card as long as he possibly can. That 3-minute buffer has dwindled to about 40 seconds, so Paris can be happy with that. But it's only a consolation they're going to take around from that defensive round.
Now, we mentioned Shadowburn coming into play, the Zarya there. Him and Sominsu about the same amount of time to charge that Graviton Surge. Sominsu just a little bit more effective with that ultimate, though.
Right around the corner after the break, we will have the Paris Eternal go on the offense. So the Titans get across the line with a bit of time to spare. A minute and 35 is their time bank. The Paris Eternal were able to slow them down at a couple of critical junctures, Matt, but there's definitely a sense they could have done a little bit more with what they've had multiple times.
For how the Paris defense started out and where they ended up in terms of how much time Vancouver has, they're probably pretty happy with that. I mean, it was not looking good for Paris. Vancouver just kind of steamrolled through point A, was able to move through point B, a little bit slower, but still with a lot of time left.
Sure.
It was point C where Paris made up some time. Some Reinhardt 3 action here from both sides. We mentioned Shadowburn coming in for Soon in the Zarya role. Soon struggling with that hero. The stats kind of back that up in a big way. Shadowburn, doing a decent job in terms of charging the Graviton Surge. They get 0 kills off of that, though. When the Vancouver Titans grab 7 off of Graviton Surge kills. It's a big difference.
0 final blows for Shadowburn, 7 for So Min Soo.
Really nice move there from Cruz. Set this up.
Looked like he was caught behind enemy lines for a moment there. Somehow, the Eternal were able to disengage a little bit. Cruz, you can see, just trying to make sure they can get out. Oh, Bumper didn't get booped away. He had the bubble on him here, so the Titans seem to be here to stay, but he and Janu were very low. It's a great opportunity for the Eternal to push forward now that 2 of the bigger bodies on the Titans need to be healed quickly, and their burst healing's just gone. Very methodical play by Paris to move on to the point. The Titans likely rotate to try and have a crack at this one. Or they give it up, man.
They may give this up, as you don't have the Transcendence. I think they're going to set up at this first corner. As there it was Hacksaw getting caught off a little bit out of position again. As this team drops down, they get booped down from Cruz, and then they start to back up underneath their own bridge. He's still kind of like off to the side on the point. And when they use the speed boost to engage Paris, they kind of go right at Bumper, and they get him low, and they start to speed boost out.
Does the
Vancouver Titans.
Yeah.
And then they just realize that Hacksaw's not going to make it back. They kill him on the point. Twilight, so far off, playing up on the high ground, he just jumps off the side.
I mean, forcing disengages isn't a terrible way to get yourself kills in some of these fights. We see it happen all the time. When some players just can't escape with the rest. Look at Cruz, he's in the backline so deep. Transcendence comes down, Janu eats it up. That's 2. Oh, man. I think Shadowburn is, 2 out of 3 grabs have been eaten so far from him on this map. Ben Best, Nico all run over the top of, and after losing the grab with the Transcendence being in play.
But that could be the difference between having a really sick time here for Paris or being stuck here at this part of the map for the next 2 minutes. I mean, you had that ultimate, you use it, you had an opportunity to combo with your self-destruct, and it just gets eaten. Vancouver runs through, takes the fight. And now Vancouver, they have Sound Barrier in this next one. They got Shatter. You have no support ultimate. So this is kind of like a dry run here for Paris.
They have to try and get something with these self-destructs. Nico down. They trade. Twilight is missing. He didn't have the Transcendence, but getting rid of the Zenyatta is still a good omen. Finzi, though, having been bopped on the head by So Min Soo, means that Paris only have 4 players to actually get aggressive with. And they'll see how much they're allowed to take before the Titans actually step forward and say, no, all right, settle down.
I mean, Paris does spawn much closer. So... I mean, you back out here, and Shadowburn has a good fight. He's going to get this grab sooner than So Min Soo.
You sure?
This neat... the way So Min Soo plays, not really, but you think. So, no, Shadowburn will get it. He has to get a good use out of this. It cannot get eaten. You have to have some kind of follow-up.
He's going for Johnny first.
Perfect.
Now it
Yep,
can't be.
there you go.
It's impossible. Too many Graviton if Diva's not alive to do it. However...
No kills off of it.
Little bit average, Cruz, a little bit low. He was very deep into the backline here. Very timely Transcendence from him. But now the Graviton Surge in response as the Transcendence times out means that, the Eternal don't have the first aid that they need to deal with that one. They get bopped, booped, and messed up on the point.
I mean, at least for Paris, you do get a use to the Graviton Surge. You do a nice job getting Janu demeched and then using it, but just no follow-up there as Vancouver does get a hold. Paris, though, they've kind of flipped the ultimate economy in their favor. They're having Vancouver invest some into that fight, so you have the Sound Barrier here, self-destruct, Shatter. Ben Best has been pretty good landing these Shatters. We'll see, maybe you have like a self-destruct into a Shatter. Kick things off here if you're Paris.
Well, Shadowburn again, racing towards his next
Big
one.
Shatter.
Ben Best, perfect! And the self-destruct is the cherry on top. Ben Best getting a beautiful knockdown on Bumper, who was just not in a position to block that one. And he will be removed. Paris get that second checkpoint, and Time Bank's looking pretty darn good.
I mean, but Ben Best has had a very good first 2 maps thus far, and there's like 2 ways you can approach that, right? Like Finzi could use the self-destruct, and then you wait till like the final minute, maybe you pin the Rhine or go for the Shatter. But Ben Best just gets aggressive, reads bumper well, lands a 3-player shatter. There's going to be a self-destruct that comes on through here from Janu, doesn't connect with anything, and Paris picks up some kills. They're going to roll on through here. Now you get some kills off your Graviton Surge. Shadowburn uses the ultimate. You get 3.
And now they need the Transcendence and Rally to be enough for Paris here. They really would love to get this one, finished in excess of 2.5 minutes. They'll be very happy. Bumper has the Shatter.
And Transcendence available here for Vancouver. There's the Shatter.
Doesn't really find anything with it there. No one really bothered too much by Bumper. Very aggressive use of the Reinhardt ultimate. Bumper being knocked to the backside. Twilight also going for his own Transcendence. Mutual knockdown between Huxal and Ben Best. And Ben Best, he cuts off second best. Bumper is still able to keep his shield up while Twilight can do a heck of a lot of work from behind it. Finzi over the edge. And the Eternal just have to give that one up. Credit to Nico. Built up his rally before the fight. Did not use it. Held on to it until later on. But this might be where Vancouver can slow the pace of the game down.
And let's see how Cruz maybe trying to go for like a back cut there.
We like those.
We'll see how Paris decides to play this. So maybe you try and engage with Rally. You use Rally that forces Sound Barrier out. And then at that point, you're looking at, Vancouver will end up with Transcendence and Rally, and then you'll have Sound Barrier Transcendence. Summon to...
As he comes down, catches Shadowburn. Ben Best is in there as well. They do get the finish on Shadowburn. That's all they needed. What a efficiently won fight.
So that's actually probably worst case there for Paris, because they actually see Shadowburn a little bit forward. He's trying to get some charge. They use the grab, and then Ben Best gets inside of it. And what's bad about it is it allows Vancouver to build up their 3 support ultimates. So now when you come back for Paris, you have Rally here, but when you rally, they'll rally, right? You're not trading Rally for like Sound Barrier or Transcendence. Yeah.
Though. There is at least that. It's unlucky Cruz gets that Sound Barrier here. There's a lot of support ults, a lot of survivability on the side of the Titans right now. That is a self-destruct from Finzi over the top. No one affected by it. Twilight that was knocked a very large distance. Ben Best trying to crack back with an Earth Shadow, but Bumpers is just a bit better. He gets a 4-player knockdown, but Hip avoided it. He gets the Transcendence to keep his team up. Nico and Slime traded out here. The Eternal still with 5 players to work forward here, but Cruz gets picked off, and that'll end it. That'll end it right there.
That's the tough one, is he was just... They're going to try and wait that out, potentially get like a Sound Barrier out of that, but Twilight just picks him off. Headshot as he's riding up on the wall. That was big. You were going to get back to full strength on both sides there, but you would have had that Sound Barrier for Paris as Summon-Su with another Graviton Surge here. Good one could end it.
Summon-Su playing close on the corner. Nico charges him. They're trying to burst his eye down quickly, but it's hard to do. She's very durable. Ben Best to charge forward here. Another Earth Shatter out from Bumper. Yields very little, but a Graviton Surge connects. Hip a little bit later on the Transcendence. Couldn't quite get it when they wanted it. It was Twilight who brought his one in as well. Ben Best charged down, bursted through that healing. Cruz and Nico have to get out, and this is it for the Paris Eternal. They have one more chance, or they'll be staring down the barrel of an 0-2 half. And they have to get there awfully fast.
So we'll see if they're able to get a touch.
Hip on the Tracer.
He already goes down low to like half health. He can't recall because you don't even get a touch. Finzi on the backside does.
Yeah, manages to get a touch. He will be desuited here, and that will give time for the rest of the Paris Eternal to arrive. At Ben Best was so low. Oh, Johnny wins another one. This guy. Caloric intake off the charts. And the Vancouver Titans just rub salt in the wounds. 0-2. Canadian squad looking indomitable here into the half.
Shadowburn comes in for Paris to play Zarya, finishes with 17 limbs, 1 final blow. Summon-Su on the other side, 56 limbs to 15 final blows, 20,000 damage. Guy's a monster.
And there you have it, halftime show right around the corner. Stick around for the second half of this series.
The Overwatch League is brought to you by T-Mobile. High ground or low ground, T-Mobile has you covered. And by State Farm. Whatever life brings your way, State Farm is here to help life go right.
okay, guys?
Yes, it's okay. It's
Just
okay.
one map.
Our coffee's not very good anyway, so it's fine. Like, we played really well there. Played really well there, boys.
Yeah, it's okay.
Look at Cruz trying to keep the team together. The Titans are trying to remain unbeaten as they're currently up 2-0 over the Paris Eternal at the half. Welcome, everybody. Malik here with Zoe and Bryn. Guys, we knew coming into this game that both of these teams were good at the 3 support, 3 tank meta. And Paris, they appear to be for real. They've been competing with the Titans so far. Just the Titans are too good.
Yeah, it's like this much. That's this much they need to overcome in these matches. Like, it's so insanely close between the Paris Eternals and Vancouver Titans. It's been an incredible match so far.
Yeah,
I mean, a lot, you know, we had our doubts coming into it off the back of Paris's
I've
game.
never had a doubt.
At all, really?
Ever.
Okay,
That's
sure.
why
Maybe. I might
Vancouver
believe
Titans.
that, but I don't know if the people at home would be convinced of that one.
I believe it, and that's all that matters. No, but Ilios was super close. Honestly,
Yeah.
we went to 99 to 99 on 2
distance.
of the rounds. Like, we went the distance. And
Right.
it really just came down to one last team fight, to one minor little mistake of one of the players, which actually turned it around. So, really, kudos to both teams.
All right, so let's talk about Xiaomintu and some of the Zarya play that we've been seeing so far in this matchup, which has been pretty nice.
Yeah, Summon Su has always been really the talking point for Vancouver Titans. This guy's insane. We saw him roll out a little bit of McCree, you know, flexing a little bit, showing off his flexibility as well, if you like. And what this game really showed me as well is that both these teams are very good, as you mentioned earlier, Malik, very good at triple tank, triple support. Like, it's what they excel at. It's what they specialize at now. And these teams are so close, but Vancouver Titans are just a little bit better at spotting the win conditions as the fights are going on. Fights which should be lost. They've already lost 2 people. They managed to turn it around because they can recognize how and what they need to do to win. And often it comes down to their disengages, which I think have been on point all around. And Summon Su, I think that one of the things that has come into this match with Paris and what they're doing is they're actually putting a lot more focus, I think, on him in particular as a player, because indirectly he is the one who's also supporting Bumper when he's going for these crazy styles. You can see in the statistics here, Sun was a talking point in our pre-show. The cast are talking about him, about his Zarya play, and he is going head-to-head here with So-Min Su when it comes to these statistics. They are evenly matched here because of the pressure that Paris are putting on them. So this was not a weak point for me. I don't think the Zarya play was the weak point in this particular match. In fact, I think it was more coming down to the support ults for me personally, watching that first map play out.
Yeah, there were a few timing issues with, for example, Hipster Transcendences, which kind of lost in fights. They popped it a little bit too early in more than one occasion, which was just kind of unfortunate. But overall, I still think it's really hard to actually pinpoint it at a single player. I think overall they played really well. I was very impressed with Cruz doing his Lucio thing again.
Yeah.
He actually was, but they didn't focus him at all. And on the other side, we did see Paris actually trying to take advantage of whenever Bumper went in aggressively. I thought that was actually really nicely done in the first map, at least, where they really spotted it. Oh, okay, he's coming in again. And they did pick him off, so they were able to punish this.
All right, so let's move on. Let's move on to Nubani, which is very interesting because we saw Soon leave the game. We saw Shadowburn come in, and the Divas were really popping off this game. Jinmu more specifically, or Janu more specifically, because he was eating lots of Shadowburn's ults throughout the game.
I think he had 3 in the end of it, but Finzi held his own too. I really want to give credit to him as well. He and Janu both on map 1 at least. They had a lot of Hail Mary bombs. There was not much coordination with the drafts or with the shatter, so they got like a pick off here and there. But really, the bombs look big on Numbani. We had a lot of great moments here from Finzi and Janu alike. So once again, thumbs up for both.
Yeah, and this was such a tight map, such a tight series so far, and it comes down to the fact that both these teams are so good at recognizing what they need to do in the moment when it comes to it. And here's the Divas that we
Look at the
talked about a little bit earlier.
eliminations.
Look at the difference here between Janu and Finzi. I mean, in the eliminations, like you said, Zoe, like, it's crazy. This guy is involved in so much of this. Janu, so far, has been stealing the show right now, and he's been the real, I think, the reason that they're just being pushed over when it comes to a lot of these team fights. Vancouver Titans coming out on top in matches or in team fights that they should be losing. Often Janu is clutching it out time and time again.
Yeah, you know, a lot of the team fights, I noticed that they were, Paris was targeting Bumper. Like, they're being Earth Shadow, the first target was Bumper. Why not Janu? And what should Paris really correct if they want to get over that small hump that's keeping them from winning these maps?
It's a super good question, honestly,
Yeah.
because it's so tightly matched in a lot of these team fights. It's so even between them. It comes down to such minor things such as cooldown usage and target focusing and things like that. I think you don't want to focus Bumper. I think that honestly that's like a bit of a red herring because you can get carried away with trying to do it, and because he gets supported so much by his team, Zarya bubbles, armor packs, the healing all gets pumped into him. Often you'll find you don't get the kill on him, and you've committed everything to try and bring him down.
I love
You
how
don't do it.
excited you are right
Dude, this
now.
match is sick,
It is so
though. I'm
exciting.
so pumped. I'm so pumped. And the next one's going to be potentially even better as well. So, like, and I'm also over-caffeinated. Apologies. I'm like,
Don't apologize.
I'm dumb hype for this game. I'm dumb hype. It's actually so
with
cool.
you, Brent. I'm with you.
Good Overwatch. But yeah, I think it's going to be still evenly close. Paris, I think they need to focus on a little bit of their target prioritization. That's how they're going to be getting an edge coming into the second half.
All right, well, we'll see if the Eternal can get back into this game. Stay tuned. More Overwatch right after the break. They don't just play for a team. They play for every fan, every rival, every moment, every match. And when everyone watching expects the best, they perform with the best.
Eternal may just be one of the top teams for you in this league.
Vancouver Titans, they are absolutely the real deal.
A lot of pressure on these guys.
The Vancouver Titans, impervious.
And Paris just looks unstoppable. Oh, Janu manages to get the 4K. But this guy is flashy too, man. Getting the kills, getting the boops.
They've shown that they can tussle with the very best that Overwatch League has to offer.
That was dominating.
Suffice to say, there was a lot of hype coming into this match. A team really representing the European region with incredibly strong triple tank, triple support play. On the other side, the Vancouver Titans, straight out of the Korean region, doing the same thing, but perhaps better. We didn't know for sure until these two came head-to-head, but Matt, it seems like Paris are this close to winning so many of these team fights.
Paris has not played a poor series this far. It's just the little things. It's just Vancouver's just way more aggressive. You know, I really liked when Paris was upping the pace, being as aggressive as the Titans. At points in that map, you saw Vancouver really start to pick it up, though.
How many grabs has Johnny Wheaton so far?
I mean,
I would say like 5.
Yeah,
at least 5.
Oh, without a doubt. I mean, he's been big, but the Zarya comparison. So this is all Paris Zarya. Shout out to Ben in the back. I make his life difficult every day. But you see Graviton Surge efficiency, 1.9 there for Summon Suit, 0.67 for all of Paris Zaryas.
Yeah.
22 Graviton Surge kills from Summon Suit on that map to, I believe, 6 of the Paris Eternals.
That Graviton
Shadowverse.
Surge efficiency is quite an indictment as well, I feel. I mean, again, we know Sominsu is just killing it in this role. He's up there. He's probably number 1. Nene is probably number 2. If you want to look at top Zaryas in the league, Sinatra is definitely in that conversation as well. This next map has to be won by the Paris Eternal. They can't draw it. They can't lose it, obviously. They must win this map to stay in the series.
And you notice we did not run the substitution graphics, so therefore, just break that down for the people at home. There are none. So Shadowburn will stay in. So you have Shadowburn staying in the lineup here. Symmetra, not going to get play here as I thought maybe we see it, but no, I think we'll see the crazy shenanigans. Let's say if Vancouver wins this, right? We all know the game that we
have seen Symmetra, on assault maps. On this map, even, it's just usually maybe. Well, look, we might see it. Depends how far ahead one of these two teams get. Either way, they're both playing Reinhardt in the 3-3.
Vancouver not adopting the popular select Reaper and lose strategy here.
Yep.
So
definitely, that didn't feel like that flavor today. Oh, I like this. They're trying to bait a rotation. Oh, Ben Best gets caught up in the whole massive bodies for the Titans as they're trying to approach to the point, but it allows them access to some key targets, I guess, with Hip dealing with So Min-soo. Ben Best knows Bumper is behind him, but can't really deal with him right now and needs to keep the shield up. Fortunately, his backline is dealing entirely well with Bumper and get rid of him quite happily.
And, we talk about how good the Vancouver supports are.
Oh, that was
keeping
cute.
Bumper alive.
He didn't get the final blow, but it was cute.
But Ben Best gets really low there, and Paris is able to keep him up through all of that. As Vancouver, when they see him get that low, they go. They assume, like, okay, we're going to pick up this kill, roll right through the Rhine, speed boost onto the point, just kind of like flip and then turn the tides. But keeping Ben Best alive there is massive there for Paris. I mean, that's kind of their first fight win conditions in that scenario.
Titans go forward. This is such a dangerous way to go normally as the attacking team. It's very risky. You walk into a lot of free damage, but it looks like it's all coming from the Titans. Look at Nico. He's still in the mix, but he's so very low. He goes very deep to get rid of Haxal, and then he gets sort of saved by that Transcendence here. Getting rid of Cruz might be a decent sign for the Titans, and half of them still want to commit here. They've used a Transcendence of Twilight. They really want to go forward. They've got Shadowburn here. And now Finzi being knocked off the point. One by one, the Eternal have fallen. It's just Finzi being kept around on the point. Hip dropped. Wow.
And, they're trying to keep Shadowburn alive there at the end. Like, maybe if you're able to make it back to the other side of the point and you can wait, you get your Lucio back, you have Rally, Sound Barrier, you keep Shadowburn charged up, maybe you can make something out of it. But as soon as he falls, you're not able to do anything with it. So,
in as much as that little passage of play resembled a team fight, it's one of the more interesting ones.
It was very scrappy. It's not like both of these teams are so aggressive. Like, well, Vancouver really kind of sets the pace in terms of aggression, and they do kind of spread out a little bit, and they all kind of converge on certain areas. But
they do commit to a fight even after losing a few players. Like those key ultimates still get leveraged in player disadvantages by this team. Here's the Shatter. Shielding was pretty good there. Slime will be taken down. We saw the knockdown and charge straight through a Bumper. He managed to deal with Hip. And a self-destruct here. Ben Best not too worried about that.
But look at this fight. I mean, Bumper's on one side of the point. You have 4 players for the Vancouver Titans on the other. So, the 2 players have to go back to try and deal with Bumper as he's on the point. That forces Rally out here. So when they see the Rally come out, Bumper kind of charging in, getting that one pick and staying alive for a little bit long, it scares the other team. They don't want to get collapsed on with the Reinhardt on one side and the other. Now you have a big advantage here if you're Vancouver.
So many support ults for the Titans. They do lose Bumper, which is no surprise at this point, but they have the Transcendence to keep the rest of them durable into the later stages of the fight. Hip also responds with one of his own and a Sound Barrier now to propel the Titans forward. Ben Best caught. He was too far ahead of the rest of his backline, and the Titans, that was exactly what they were looking to do. So Min-soo couldn't stay alive through Nico's onslaught there as he tried to bubble himself. So the Vancouver Titans, now with Bumper having just returned to the fray, are going to have another crack at it here. Again, committing to a fight where they're down on players.
You do get a tick here. You're going to get the second tick as well. Shatter comes out from Bumper. Don't connect with anything as Twilight. They've not dealt with him, just sitting all the way in the back, throwing the discords, landing some shots. But it'll be Paris who storms back onto the point. They use Rally, push on through. Twilight already with another Transcendence, though.
I mean, what a crucial time for the Eternal, though. That fight coming towards them, Hip didn't quite have his Transcendence, and it was looking quite dangerous. The Titans had everything they needed. They'd forced a lot of support utility out of the Eternal on their previous attempts at attacking, but they were in trouble. Now that they've managed to stabilize a little bit more, Hip probably not too far away from yet another Transcendence. Twilight will have one, yes. It's the Graviton of So Min-soo that could be the real breaker here.
It's interesting they go low ground with the Graviton Surge, and they don't want to push through the high ground. A lot of area for Diva to potentially just fly in there as
Nico's down. There it is!
To the wall.
And it's going to catch up Cruz pretty comfortably. Janu able to go for the finish off there. Earth Shatter attempted by Ben Best, but there's just too much healing available now. We can't even get the charge. Everyone on the Titans is actually knocked away probably from Finzy's self-destruct. That actually puts him out of range of Ben Best's charge. And now the Valiant Reinhardt player will fall. Finzy gets himself a repair pack. Repair packing, of course, over towards a Baby Demon, really just to stall things out. And it will be the Vancouver Titans able to take that first point there, the pushback. They'll be pretty happy with that one. Fairly solid attack. We've seen the Eternal able to make it pretty costly for them in terms of time. 2 minutes 52 left on the clock for the Titans. Let's see what the Eternal have. Sometimes when either of these two teams are actually going to commit the heavy artillery to a lot of these team fights, but sometimes we see them lose a couple of players and then decide to go for a Transcendence, being like in a 4v6. And in Vancouver's case, they're able to win some of these engagements.
So you see the shots from Twilight, man. It's really made it like a case for the argument of like best Zenyatta in the league, right? Like support role. Him and Jonak near the top in a lot of these
first kill stats are very high.
It's been odd in the case that like sometimes when you think Vancouver should disengage and where it makes the most sense to disengage, they double down and take the fight. Sometimes, in the same type of scenario, they opt to not. They'll just kind of back on out. So it's been quite odd in that regard thus far.
There's a lot of playmaking, I think, going on with their calls. They are risky calls. Investing ultimates in fights where you don't have as many players.
They know the Zen is trapped off here.
Now, the Eternal have to run back, so they're going to run straight into the trap the Titans set for them here. It's very messy opening for the Eternal here, and Ben Best is the first one down.
That's a really ugly start there for Paris. They didn't get hit around the corner, and I think when Vancouver, they realized that the players from Paris have moved out, they're like, okay, there's no Zenyatta here. Let's just kind of hold ground in the middle of the map. Because what are you going to do? If you're the Zen for Paris, you're not going to pop out and just start throwing orbs around. You're just going to get picked off. And then it forces Paris to potentially try and rotate back. They're never able to make it together. It's an ugly first fight.
It's the stuff you get punished for against a team like the Titans. If you just get a little bit too ahead of that one player or don't get him around the corner safely enough. Or just leave him out next to the shield. Nico just got pelted there. That was actually an orb of destruction followed up by Huxal, and then he can just chase down Cruz, and that's it.
But when you give a team like Vancouver like 2 early fight wins at the beginning, and now you're giving them some ultimates to play around with.
This takes so long.
It's not looking good.
Okay, Finzy's happy with that.
Yeah,
he's actually
I'd rather have that probably.
Saves him like 3 seconds, believe it or not. So there is some gravity, close to the moon surface, just not a lot. Now, the Titans set up on the high ground, and look, with all of this essentially free damage they've gotten in the last few fights, they're very well equipped in terms of their support ultimates. Cruz is a little bit behind in terms of the barrier, not by too much. Zen obviously charges that ult little bit faster than Lucio on average. Okay, straight to low ground. I like this from the Eternal. This is what the Titans try, but it's cleaner from Paris. They force the rotation, but they get the setup on the point as if they were the defender. And I guess in some senses they now are. Here come the Titans trying to barrel through. Bumper attempted an Earth Shatter, but again, that one was a little bit off the mark. Ben Best happily deflecting that one. Shadowburn, again, yeah, he's going to get caught up in the Graviton Surge now. Does he think to go for it himself? No, he holds on to it, trusting his backline to keep them alive through it. And now they catch out Twilight all on his own, who gets himself a sound barrier and stays alive through it all. Janu getting rid of Finzi here, and now it's turning against the Paris Eternal. Shadowburn goes down, and oh, here we go again.
Oh, Finzi trying to make it out. You see, oh.
Not going to let him out.
Yeah, you see, they're just trying to block him, knock him back. Oh,
Finnbjorn, it's a tough life. It is. Sleep now, good prince. He will return in just a moment.
Now, Bumper uses that shatter like wildly at the beginning of that fight. And you're probably at home like, what was that? Somansu, he comes around the corner and Bumper's doing so much damage for Vancouver that they just bubble him. And then when the grab is good from Somansu, which it usually is, he goes right up to like 80% towards another shatter. And it's already got that ultimate back.
Okay, so again, they try and bait a rotation, but Bumper drops in. It's so aggressive. I don't know what he's trying to start up there, but immediately the rally's going to get used by the Eternal. Oh, the ultimate's now being thrown at them, and the Titans, well, they're going to pay for that one through the nose. The self-destruct found Slime. It was just kind of thrown out in the open, and Ben Best makes sure he dealt with Bumper. I'm sure there's a little bit of venom in those hammer swings. So at 25 seconds left, the Eternal can stay in this map, continue to play Overwatch for the time being, and remember, they can stay in this series. They must win this map. A draw is not sufficient.
Hey, speaking of some main tanks around the league, it's like you just try and get like a read on the other main tanks and when they kind of like want to shatter and how they typically go about it. Like, do they get aggressive up tiers? How in the world do you know when Bumper's going to shatter? Flying around corners, blindly shattering, coming down from the top rope. There's no way you can get a prediction on him.
It's something that philosophers call the irreducible element of rascality. Sometimes you never know when he's just going to go a little bit crazy, throw something in the works. We will have a bit of that in this map. Sominsu playing pretty far back here. High ground being abdicated to the Paris Eternal, which means that Shadowburn essentially has a good opportunity to build up some charge. But Ben Best is already at half health. With the repair back's unavailable, yeah, it's going to be the Transcendency to keep him up. Sound Barrier, they lay up both support ults though. Oh, they might have needed them. Let's see if this fight works out. If they lose this fight using both support ults, then it's all gone horribly wrong for the Paris Eternal. Oh no! This is a disaster!
I feel like Finzi has spent more time out of his mech than in the mech.
I'm actually in physical pain watching this. Oh god!
No, yeah, he's gonna get him all the way back, so he just wants to play.
No. Oh, that's awful.
What did you say last week? You're not living that fam.
You're not living
through that fam.
Oh, he probably lived a lot longer than he would have wanted to. The Titans kind of like put him in like a shoebox and like poke some holes for air and some grass that he could like eat or something. It's like when you find like a snail in the backyard, you want to keep it.
The worst part is like when he's going on the ride with Bumper, he knows that he's gonna live through it as well. He knows he's just gonna burn more time off the clock.
Such is life. Very sad.
So in Paris, they have to try and go for low ground, but now they're going to rotate all the way up towards high ground, which is the same exact fight they took last time, where Vancouver just set up on the point and backed up. They let Paris drop.
They use both their support ults at once. Remember that?
Yeah, I mean, they don't have the luxury of doing that this time. They just have Rally here.
Is that because they used them both already, right? Yeah. They have neither of them. Yeah, that's
Ben Best is low. They have nothing to keep him up here.
Shadow doesn't connect. Twilight and Bumper, one was shielded, one was in Transcendence, and then Nico is just going to get sucked into the grab pretty much straight away. Paris have bled away a lot of their own time trying to push forward here. Shadowburn was able to find Bumper, but that's usually an expected degree of collateral in these fights for the Titans. Doesn't really surprise them whatsoever.
And the shatter from Ben Best there is just like a defensive shatter. He's really low. They have nothing to keep him up. Yeah, the rally's being used, just trying to like buy himself some time, maybe get like a repair pack when it comes off a cooldown or something.
That is an important cooldown to track as well.
I mean, you did end up having the Graviton Surge used here from Vancouver. The issue is for Paris, you come back, you use grab, the fight gets extended a little bit long, you don't win it. You're staring down like Somansu with a grab. Maybe they hold on to a support ult here. Bumper's the only one on the grab. They're going to use Sound Barrier, keep him up. Yep.
Well, Bumper's fashionable hat doesn't actually cause any damage to him or the rest of his compatriots. So, the Titans can continue to push forward. It was hit to go with the Transcendence and Shadowburn. with nice amount of charges, able to take down Bump. But now, where's the clapback? There always seems to be some sort of retort from the Titans when they lose their main tank first. And it was Twilight going forward slow, just spending a lot of time sort of behind Ben Best's shoulder, pressuring him with damage. Sominsu is missing, but he got Nico on the way out. Big shatter! It's huge! Just what they needed! And now Fidzy to be desuited, and he probably gets stalled out a little bit, I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah, again.
A very sad Iceland man. Oh, dude. Yeah. I mean,
you know what's great about that fight is that Sominsu uses grab, and like as we're on it, the follow-up is like just Slime behind, just jumping up on the wall, just throwing a melee in there,
charging up his next soundbar. I feel that. Just getting the damage in there. So, do or die now for the Paris Eternal. They must capture this point to stay in the map and series. It all goes down right here, right now. Ben Best very close to an Earth Shatter here. Look at the displacement though on the Eternal. They're so split up right now. And him, it was easy access for the Titans to get in and get rid of that Zenyatta. Desperate charge for Ben Best to cross the point. He gets rid of Huxon at least, but Shadowburn is so close to a Graviton Surge. He needs it the next couple of seconds. He's got it. Now where to use it? That's the big question. Transcendence comes in already from Twilight, so if he can wait the trans out and then use the grab, the Eternal might have a shot at this one. Bumper goes deep, not taken down. There goes Ben Best to follow up. It's a sound barrier now for the Vancouver Titans. Over the top, self-destruct. There needs to be something here. No, Ben Best is taken down. Then the Earth Shatter from Bumper to not Nico prone. Sound barrier even being used by the Paris Eternal. Everything they've got, they're committing to this fight, and they're still coming up short. We are in overtime here, but they've just got Nico left. Shadowbird here. There's no way he's going to be getting towards this point, and Fidzy's finally removed. That'll do it. And the Vancouver Titans now stand at 3-0 in this series. The Eternal, they had to win that map. They pull up short.
If you're Paris, you obviously know the result of the series. The final map, though, is very important. They have some remaining games that are very tough on their schedule. Every map matters for Paris in getting to the playoffs. Vancouver takes the series. We'll be right back with the last map after the break.
The Overwatch League is powered by Intel. Game, record, stream without compromise on Intel Core i7. And by Omen by HP, the official PC and display of the Overwatch League.
The Vancouver Titans are pretty much on their run home to playoffs with only a few more games left in this stage. The Eternals still have quite the gauntlet ahead of them. And this match, if they lose this one, they still have a chance, and they have lost this match, of course, to get into the playoffs. They can't drop any more down the line.
No, you can't afford an 0-4. The 4 in the loss column in terms of map differential be crushing for Paris. I mean, if you lose this last map, probably anyway, you need to win the final 3. You need to win them, getting some maps on the board as well. I know the big wins, like 3-1s, 4-0s. It's going to be really tough.
Let's just put it this way. For the Paris Eternal to have 2 4-0s in a row, or an 0-4 for them, 2 losses without winning a map, would not be good. That is what they're on the road to right now after struggling against the Atlanta Reign prior. This last map, they must come back. They must bring a little bit of pressure, but The Titans don't seem to be the team that really... they slack off a little bit in the last map. I'll be honest with you.
They apologized the last time after we saw them on Rialto. I know Bumper was like, he was trying to send people into the rivers and whatnot there. But I know Paris does make a change today that I think is worth noting. Soon has gone out since map 1, and we've seen Shadowburn the remainder of the series. I think Shadowburn really just trying to make a difference on the team. Like maybe, it's a little bit of a spark of energy. Somebody new in there plays Zarya. It's kind of odd thinking about how good his Zarya has been in the past. Like, why haven't they tried this a little earlier? Maybe they just couldn't incorporate him enough into the things that they were doing. But I think the first map on Nimbani, I think there were a lot of plays that he'd like to have back in terms of Graviton Surge that were eaten and such.
You'd like the grabs back, actually.
All of them, yeah. I mean,
all 5 or 6 of them.
I think there on Horizon, though, it was much better there from Shadowburn. And I think if you can really kind of play around his Zarya, like a lot of other teams are playing around their Zaryas, I think he has the talent to be able to take over games. I mean, we've seen it in the past.
Over the last couple of weeks, we've actually seen a few teams that stand out as having some difficulty really setting up self-destruct combos. We see a lot of teams that just sort of throw self-destructs in, and it doesn't really do a heck of a lot. So Rapel's going to come in here.
Same sub we saw last time.
He's been subbed in for Twilight in the past, again for that last map of the series, giving this player a little bit of experience. Now, he does come in on maps where we just see Bumper go absolutely mental and just, I don't even really know what Bumper was doing in some of their map 4s. So, that might affect his stats. I don't really like when people look at Rapel stats and compare it to Twilight's go, because the team is playing entirely different. Yeah. Playing one game, come on. Give the guy a break, but we got to see a little bit more of him.
And, the series has been pretty competitive from start to finish. This isn't like Paris coming in here and, getting rolled in like a 3-0 or like a, let's say, into like a 4-0 or 3-1 scenario. Like,
but it gets to a point
Ilios
no consolation.
No, Ilios is one fight away.
Yep.
Nimbani, I think that was probably heavily favored towards the Titans. They were very fast through point A, point B. Horizon, towards the end there, Paris not able to even get point B. So, like, the middle 2 maps have definitely started to swing more heavily in favor of Vancouver, but this isn't a series where if Paris goes back and reviews the VOD, like, it was just not winnable. Like, sometimes you just get blown out, and it's like, well, nothing we could do. Let's not even watch the VOD. Let's just go on to the next game. Like, this is one where, the Eternal could have been in this one today.
However, as it stands, 3-0 is the score.
However, they're not.
They're not. They'd like to avoid a 4-0. We've seen a very interesting Vancouver Titans on this map in the past. We'll see if they... How do I put this? We'll see if they vary their play style up a little bit now with the pressure of trying to win this.
See what Vancouver Titans we get. So, Finzi taking a little...
Damn, they really upgraded those gondolas, man.
Just think about how big that gondola needs to be to fit a mech inside it.
Sizable. Yeah. Think about how the pilot is really having to get them forearms going. Get them
I never actually thought of that. With the mech inside of that, it's actually tremendous that it still floats.
It probably shouldn't. Also, Roadhog, being quite heavy himself, might struggle with that. Anyway, Huxhole and Widowmaker early. We've seen this work. This early Widowmaker look for the pick outside of spawn play. Hey, don't be too upset.
It's all right, guys. They're still going to play.
They're all saying soon because they want him to come back in. I get it. Shadowman obviously still in the lineup now. So the Titans go for a little bit more of a restrained, well-behaved composition. The Eternal haven't really decided to engage yet. I mean, Miko a little bit low. Obviously, your Brigitte can't repair pack herself, so she doesn't have any burst healing available to her.
Could you imagine if she could repair pack herself?
I don't want to, because she'd be played in FFA deathmatch all the time. Oh, that's not good. Bumper knocked off. Well, maybe it is, actually. Maybe that's exactly what the Titans wanted. He's able to get away to the rest of his team, and Janu is just trying to, give him a safe retreat by knocking Ben Best out of the way or making it harder for him to get back in position. So all's well that ends well for the Titans with the way that fight started off here. Lovely boot up. Cruz being the trampoline for Bumper, who was already discorded, so he was definitely going to go down there. And the Vancouver Titans looking a little bit sketchy thus far.
It's actually wild how fast Vancouver can adjust, though, and Bumper gets in a tough position. Usually when you see that from a lot of teams, when their Reinhardt gets booped or gets knocked out of position, the other team just blows him up and he's just gone. As Vancouver, they're able to keep Bumper alive for a little bit long, but some nice boops there by Cruz. Set his team up for success. So he's up on the high ground now, looking for another one.
Okay, they might try and force a rotation here. Quick speed boost around the corner for the Titans. Okay, they want to commit in this direction. Rapel gets the first pick on Ben Best. Great way to open up the fight. And I mean, a tough fight for Paris as well. Cruz was looking around, trying to see if he could actually disengage his team, but the Titans had cut off their method of escape.
And you see, as a Reinhardt, you put your shield down for like half of a second. The other team's speed boosting at you. You are going back to the respawn rather quickly as Ben Best gets removed rather fast. Summon2 here with a grab. Let's see how he decides to use this. Setting up on the high ground. He'll drop down. Now he's stuck in Paris' grab.
He voluntarily drops into that one, just probably to try and give a shield to Bumper amidst all that. This Graviton could hurt. The Transcendence, fortunately from him being employed on the fringes of the grab, he was playing just close enough that he could heal the rest of his team fully. So, teams go for those combos. No result. Now we reset, push forward. Ben Best looking a bit average there. Here's the sound barrier now. The Titans are going to get very aggressive on a dime, but they lost Bumper at the same time as that ultimate came out.
And usually you see them fight without Bumper. I think on this point, this position, you need Bumper to get through this choke. It's so difficult.
Getting
say that
off
though.
the edge.
Slime dancing up on the high ground.
I think Vancouver will try and fight as quickly as they can here.
Yeah. So now you'll get Bumper back.
Somin-Su, the question of how charged he is probably an important one. Ben Best got bubbled there very briefly. Oh, that's beautiful! It's just so good! Just a clutch shatter just when it was needed. And that's when Vancouver know that they can commit to some fights even if they're lacking players. Somehow Bumper just finds these next level angles. Just gets under his shield. Sets it up with a bash.
It's just difficult to predict, like I was mentioning earlier. You go into your games, right? You pick Reinhardt. You're kind of going the back and you're going the back and forth with the other Reinhardt. After a little bit, you can kind of get the sense of like how his game is, when the shatters are going to come, on the situations you like to do it. A Bumper, sometimes he sets them up. Sometimes he just walks right up to the cart, shield down, uses it. Like there's just not a great way to figure this guy out.
He is chaotic evil, right? Like he just tries to
Blank
catch
shattering.
the enemy team off guard by trying a lot of things. Shatterbird's grab, that's another one. And I'm pretty sure Janu now has the most amount of grabs eaten in the course of a series. So far in the Overwatch League. Break that record and break the back of the Paris Eternal, why don't you?
Yeah, you don't want to be on the other end of that stat. It's not great for Paris, with their Graviton Surge uses today. Even the uses they've had, they haven't had great follow-up.
Oh, man.
They're back on Nimbani had like
So that
20 plus grab kills.
It's a very necessary ultimate. It's a very powerful ultimate. You need it.
It's the key in the setup in a lot of these fights.
Absolutely. Huxol knocked down. Discord Orb there, making it easy for Finzi to finish him off. Bumper also falling here, so the Eternal will be able to hold for the time being. Cruz and Rapel just getting acquainted with one another. Have we ever seen this before? Last week.
Everybody goes in the drink there.
At least it wasn't. I think Paul Rapel actually walked off.
I tell you what, he fell off the boat, right? So this is still going to be tough for Paris on the offensive side. This is a map that is pretty defensive favored. We usually see teams get stopped quite often before they even take point A. So if you see Vancouver here take this next point, Paris going to have to have a very good offense to potentially win the map. So already the payload has moved quite a distance.
Cheeky. There's Ire on the high ground. Shatterbird very sheepishly rejoining his team, scurrying up the stairwell. I'm still here, guys. Okay, there's the Graviton Surge here. Now the Titans have a target for all this damage. And yeah, they didn't even really need the self-destruct there. The Paris Eternal didn't go for that Transcendence, didn't have a chance, didn't have it at the time. It doesn't matter. They are going to get to this second checkpoint now, no doubt.
And even if you have the Transcendence during that, you're not really going to get a great use of it because with the way the grab is placed, some players end up on one side of the wall with the other. Transcendence can only heal with line of sight, so you probably don't even get everybody with it. Vancouver probably still walks away with a kill or two off of that Graviton Surge, even with Transcendence used. So it's a tough spot there as Bumper just flies around the corner. It's going to be a shatter.
Oh, that defense matrix doesn't protect the Zaya from the swings of an angry Reinhardt. Bumper really wanted to get rid of Shatterbird early in that fight. That was so fast that the Eternal didn't have a chance to really use any of their ultimates, which may not end up being such a bad thing because they're going to need them in just a moment. They got Modric.
Dude, completing the map here for Vancouver, that'd be very impressive. It's very difficult to do. Shadowburn uses the grab, gets a few players inside it, and all the kills are going to Vancouver.
Bumper's still able to shield away the self-destruct. Hypn is standing there inside the Transcendence, but he still lost two teammates. So Minsu's going to take a breather for a moment. He has a Graviton if he needs it. He just lets it rip straight at Finzi, by the way, who could quite easily have chosen to eat it if he was aware. He didn't. Still fairly ballsy play. I'll give him that. Cruz low. up on the high ground, creating his own high ground, as it were. Still over a minute to go. The Titans definitely want to finish without going into overtime. They're looking in very good shape to do just that. Benbest is coming back in now on the wrecking ball. Oh man, he takes a heck of a lot of damage early on, even with that adaptive shield. Earthshatter, Shadowburn knocked down. Bumper wants that Zarya, and he'll have it. Self-destruct on the payload here. Nico's shield breaks.
And it will be the Titans to get there. With time to spare, which is no mean feat.
They're comparing the main tanks for this one. Bumper just the damage over 10 minutes, right? He's sitting at 9,500 damage right now, but over the course of 10 minutes, it equates to about 13k. Benbest on the other side, 5,900. That would equate to about 7,300. It's almost double the damage you're getting out of Bumper here. So you're definitely noticing it, right? When he's coming up and he's landing these big shatters, pushing on through.
I mean, Rapel's doing a great job so far. He got 6 final blows here, which is, very much up there. It's just slightly less than Sominsu's. A lot of healing for his team, and only 2 deaths, most importantly. Just 2 for him. Obviously, Bumper, normally the one that dies first in many of these fights only has 3. So that should be your benchmark. If anyone has more deaths than Bumper on the Titans, you know that something's up.
Let me take a look. It's the ultimates in the game, like we mentioned, this season in a single match. So it's actually it's crazy that Paris involved in the top 2 these games.
But this was not great. Yeah, this is not from one individual. This is just in general over the course.
Yeah, it's 5 for Janu and 3 for Finzi make up that. So
that is
a lot.
And you can see what it does to a team. Not only does it take the wind out of their sails in terms of their resources, but also their psychology.
Yeah.
You're going to do without that grab. You got that fancy little self-destruct.
And yet again, I mean, the Graviton surges for both of these teams as, Sominsu's getting his every a minute and 15 seconds. Shadowburn every a minute 23, so not that far behind. Pretty close even. 9 Graviton Surge kills come out here for the Vancouver Titans. 0 yet again here for Paris.
They're not getting value out of their Zarya right now. It's pretty simple.
But I think, though, when you swap from... Yeah, keep telling yourself that. When you swap Soon out for Shadowburn, you're doing that to get value out of your Zarya. Because we talked about how Soon's stats, he's down at the bottom in a lot of categories on Zarya. You need a little pick-me-up in that role. I think you found it in some ways with Shadowburn, but not the complete package.
Well, I mean, you throw him in against one of the top teams in the league.
It's tough, yeah.
You have to temper your expectations somewhat.
Do they play him again? Some of their upcoming matches. That'll be interesting. I think they probably will.
Bumper looking healthy. Now they start to grind. 4 heads! Bumper goes down.
Living through that. Yeah.
He just gets crushed.
Stunned,
Look how
distorted,
quickly the rest of the
crushed.
Titans disengaged here. They're way out of this fight.
I mean, a lot of the fights the Titans are willing to take without Bumper. This one, like I mentioned for Paris before when they were on defense, you
Maybe
don't take
if they
the
had
fight
like
without Ryan.
Transcendence or something similar, right? The Titans are able to come back without giving this choke away. Shadowburn and Nico were knocked to the ground, so the Transcendence was definitely required by him. Rapel uses his own one. A lot just happened there. Big Earth Shadow though from Benbest. That's the big story. Slime and Bumper are down. You can see, the Titans can't really interact too much here. The payload will get to that first checkpoint very quickly. This is very fast for Paris.
No defense in this one. It's like a regular season NBA game. Both teams just flying at each other. So they usually at point A, we kind of hype it up, right? It's very difficult to take. Both teams just storm right through. They don't care. So now we'll see if Vancouver can hold here on D's. I know they'll have to just keep going up here for the high ground. I wonder if they take a fight early. It would really kind of catch Paris off. Like nobody kind of jumps down here, takes the fight. Except Vancouver Titans. They'll take any fight.
Bumper's had that fight. He takes those. Here's a Graviton Surge. Both teams end up using them though. The Vancouver one wasn't that impressive,
nice
and Finzi gets himself 3. Great setup to make sure that one connected, and then Paris are really looking much better now than their previous maps. Unfortunately, it has to happen now after they're already down in the series, but we take the wins when they come.
Well, they know how important the map is in terms of their stage. So this is a really nice setup. There's
a double grab here. Self-destruct comes way over the top. You won't see it until it drops down.
And the pin there from Benbest.
Timing was perfect.
Yep.
Benbest may not have been credited with any of those kills because he was a bubble target, but either way, he was there to set up. Earthshatter here. There wasn't really anyone connected with that one. Rapel was standing in the way, but he was the Transcendence. You can't stun him out of that. 1 meter to go before this next checkpoint here. And now Bumper has a crack at that Earthshatter. Another grab. Okay, sure. Sominsu has yet another Graviton Surge. And, well, the timing was pretty darn good here. That was incredibly fast.
When you get him that quick, you may as well use him. As Bumper throws out the shatter yet again, and he goes to try and follow up some of that damage. He gets taken out before he can get a few swings into the grab, but yet again, another good grab there from Somin-Su.
One death for this entire map, by the way, Somin-Su.
Yeah, that's huge in keeping your charge, right? I mean, his average energy sitting at 68% to Shadowburn's 49. It's a pretty big difference in terms of the amount of damage you can pump out.
That is a large number. Finzy's looking a bit low in the back line here as the Eternal try and engage, so we'll see if he can maintain his mech status. So far, so good. He actually got given a repair pack just then. And here comes the self-destruct. Straight on up for Finzy. Bumper's there to block it, though. And with Hypnico and Ben Best having gone down,
there goes Shadowburn.
There's no bite to follow up the bark here for the Eternal.
So that Bumper hits a pin. Shadowburn all the way to the back. And this has not been a good point like that we've gotten to this point here for Paris. They still have 2 minutes and 30 on the clock, though. Just shows how good they were taking point. Oh, here we go.
The amount of times you would see this in Apex or career contenders on maps like Ilios.
They're not going to check. They may not check that.
Let's check this. This is going to hurt. There it is. Okay. Not as bad as it could have been. And Bumper's going to be a little bit out of position, but still the Titans are able to turn this around. They were ready to pounce with that Earth Shatter, so even if it went bad or good, they were still able to win. That is kind of the way the Titans play around Bumper.
And then you get the damage through the grab as Bumper is already 50% to another Shatter.
That was very quick by Ben Best. He probably did hear the voice line.
Yeah.
See, now, if you're going upstairs and you shatter, the actual shatter gets off quicker because the ground is closer the further, like in front of you. The further in front of you the shatter is, the closer the ground is. It's hard to explain. But if you're going down the stairs, it takes a little bit longer for the shatter to prop. Slightly. Fun facts. That's why you should always do it on the low side of ramps as well, trust me. Sound barrier now being used for the Paris Eternal. And that is that's just a Janu self-destruct, man. No setup required. And this is looking really bad for Paris now.
Yeah, I mean, Hacksaw does land a bash there on a Bembest as he turns to the side, but still, you probably would have seen some kills off of that self-destruct. Paris's offense was good until this point. It's completely stalled now. So now they're staring down the barrel of another Graviton Surge, another Shatter combo. Bumper uses his charge to get away from the rest of the team, get all the way back.
There's the grab. Nico's sitting back behind. Look at Cruz is in the distance as well. Immediate response with that Transcendence. And now the rally to be used by Nico. Somin-Su's in the back line here. What's he trying to create? I'm not sure. Bumper again goes for an Earth Shatter that doesn't really come to fruition, but they're still able to deal with Ben Best. Johnny was up on the high ground, consistently getting that damage. Somin-Su has been standing behind the Eternal the entire fight. Just putting damage on the Cruz. He's going for it. He's going to get there. So close, Transcendence. It's not going to be enough. The Eternal has secured a time extension. And the crowd almost gave it away.
Needed that Zenyatta.
All that yelling out of nowhere.
The Zenyatta speed boost.
Oh, Cruz. What a bloke. Now, the Eternal spawn right here.
What a play.
He used to save them. Yeah, very, very cheeky. You know, you think no one pulls a fast one on the Vancouver Titans.
Cruz does.
Yeah, definitely does. It's definitely his pup.
And we saw Space do that the other day as well against the Charge. We saw a sound barrier use here where Vancouver is they're going for the spawn camp.
I mean, look, reasonable. They can actually access some high ground just outside of this spawn, but eventually they will have to back away. See, they'll lose Rapel there. And now, with the spawn point being, moved forward, as it were, for the Eternal, they can't really hang around with one less player. Okay, they will keep... Oh, they're mad. The Titans are actually mad. If they're going to keep holding that far forward, they are... They're Jimmy's or Russell.
Nobody wants to get back-halved.
Nope. Constant vigilance, as Mad Eye Moody would say. They let that one slip through. And the Eternal now. Maybe there's light at the end of the tunnel here in this match. Oh, Nico just goes flying in that back line. But Finzy was able to find Sly in there. And Janu's mech, no less. Look behind Bumper, going for a crazy charge. Finzy with that interception. Just boops him on out of the way. Bumper was hoping to at least get a kill for his trouble, but he'll get nothing.
Is Vancouver doesn't want to invest anything there. They know it's very difficult to get through this choke point. So they'll end up with a Graviton Surge here. 2 support ultimates. And their self-destruct. They're so good at setting up these combos.
Yeah, it's going to be big here.
Yeah, I mean, you're going to have grab, self-destruct, potentially shatter. There's the grab. It's big.
Shatter in there, though, didn't really find much at all. Ben Best not getting anything for his trouble. Good time with the Transcendence from him, but Rapel gets his a little bit later, so now the Eternal don't have the level of healing that the Titans do. The Titans want to come forward here. Bumper's down to half. Benbest is jumping at the bit to try and get at least onto the payload here. And they're playing passively the Eternal. They're playing within their parameters. Here's that self-destruct. No? Don't go for it. It's going to be the Graviton Surge at the very least, and they had the damage to throw in there. All they had plenty.
Vancouver's still in this, though. I mean, you have Hacksaw still alive. Rapel in the back line is Shadowburn's the only one there.
Oh my, Rapel! What a fantastic final stanza.
And there it is, the Vancouver Titans will end up going 4-0 in this series. The Eternal do not finish Rialto, despite a very cheeky little backcap from Cruz. It just wasn't enough.
I mean, Summon Su in the final map only dies 2 times. 22,000 damage to Shadowburn's 13k. 62 eliminations to 18, 16 final blows to 2. You know, like, it's going to be tough for Paris to win these games when you get that Zarya discrepancies go so down in your favor. You're not having that damage come through. It's difficult to win.
And in the last 2 games, the Eternal -8 on map differential, which is really nasty for them considering the whole other host of teams that are fighting to get into our Stage 1 playoffs. They now go 2-2. And there's plenty of other teams joining them in that same bracket. They'll have to fight tooth and nail to get out of that one, whereas the Vancouver Titans now being 5-0, another 4-0 under their belt. It seems hard to imagine that they won't be dominating their division. Pacific Division looking very good for them. Let's now head down to the floor with Danny and Somin Su.
Thanks, guys. That is correct. I am here with Somin Su from Vancouver Titans. Congratulations on the win. Now, during halftime, I actually got to talk to the team, and I found out that you guys, Vancouver Titans, have the most difficulty in control maps. What makes control maps your weakest map type? 자, 제가 해프타임 때 이제 밴쿠버 팀과 얘기를 살짝 나눠봤는데 되게 재밌는 걸 배웠어요. 밴쿠버 팀이 제일 힘들어하는 맵이 이제 쟁탈 맵이다라는 소식을 접하게 됐는데 서민 선수가 보셨을 때 왜 좀 제일 좀 힘든 거 같나요?
저희가 쟁탈이 힘든 이유가 저도 잘 모르겠는데 그냥 처음 경기라서 그냥 좀 약간 긴장이 풀리거나 그런 걸 해가지고 긴장이 풀려가지고 좀 경기력이 잘 안 나온 것 같아서 첫 경기가 좀 힘들다 생각했어요.
So I can't really say for sure that control maps are our weakest map, but because it is the first map that we play, even for today, it was kind of nerves and also getting into the mood on stage, and that's why we were having some difficulties today. All right, but I feel like you guys won and you guys did a good job. And also, my next question is going to be, how important is it for the Vancouver Titans to win the Pacific Division and get placed into the top 2 seeds for the stage playoffs? 자, 이제 그리고 지금 굉장히 밴쿠버 팀이 너무나 잘하는 모습을 보여주고 있는데 이번에 계속 이렇게 승리를 계속 하시게 되시면은 태평양 디비전을 이기시게 되고 또 그렇게 되면은 스테이지 플레이오프 때 1, 2위 시드로 들어가시게 되실 텐데 서민 선수가 보셨을 때 좀 얼마나 중요성이 있나요?
그 시드권 1, 2위요? 시드권 1, 2위를 하게 되면은 뭐라 해야 되지? 그냥 저희가 강팀이라는 인식을 심어줄 수도 있고 상대적으로 순위가 낮은 팀이랑 만나는 매치가 되잖아요. 그래가지고 순위권 시드권의 1, 2위를 지키는 게 엄청 중요하다고 생각하고 있어서 지금 승점 관리나 승리 이런 거에 굉장히 중요시 여기고 있어요, 저희 팀이.
So placing in the top 2 seeds has a lot of importance because it's a way for us to show that we're one of the stronger teams. And if we do place in the top 2 seeds, we'll get to play teams that are in the lower seed. And so in order for us to get into the top 2 seeds, we're practicing and we're actually doing our best for that goal. Alrighty, thank you so much. Everybody give it up for Somin and Vancouver Titans. That's it for me. Back to you guys, casters.
Another dominant stretch from the Vancouver Titans. No doubt about it. Somin Su, I mean, he might not even realize, he might not even know his stats are so darn high, but he definitely sits up there as one of the top damage dealers in the league.
I mean, in this series alone, you saw it was like 70k damage. Graviton Surge kills. Vancouver Titans comes up with 60 during that game. Paris only comes up with 19. It's a huge difference in terms of the value you're getting out of that.
It's crazy what happens when you don't get your grabs eaten and actually get to use them on the enemy team. It's pretty impressive stuff here. I mean, with that being said, I think it's definitely worth looking at our player of the match, brought to you by Omen by HP in this one. It's got to be your boy Janu. one of the biggest reasons why the Eternal don't get grabs is because he's just out there setting up plays, eating them up, killing people.
Again, a lot of those Graviton Surge kills that the Vancouver Titans are getting is, Janu using the self-destructs. Some great boops, from Slime, Bumper with the follow-up as well, but John just does a great job of just staying alive, always alive. At the end of the match, you're looking like 2-3 deaths, a lot of kill contributions, 50 plus limbs and whatnot. You see, 190 limbs, only 11 deaths. That is unreal over the course of a series.
I mean, this is what happens when,
a lot of kill contributions.
You're spending a lot of time in these fights. You're spending a lot of time alive. What's even more impressive to me as well is that there are 54 final blows there.
Yeah.
That's outside of the self-destruct kills, which he got 12. So he's been able to go in there and take responsibility for hitting the backlines. I also think that Cruz and Finzi tried to play a similar game, like the Diva being sped boosted to try and jump in and pick off one of those more vulnerable targets there. I tell you what, we saw a very special guest in the front row there. It was actually Super's dad with the shock jersey on. It was the best part was Super's dad's there and everyone's holding
Super
face
masks
on
next
these
to them,
things.
yeah.
Someone give Super's dad a super face. We're going to be back with that one next. It's going to be the New York Excelsior at 6-0 going up against the San Francisco Shock. One of our matches of the week. Not one to miss out on. So stick around. We'll be bringing that one right to you in just a moment.
Yeah, keep fighting. They have no idea. Let me live. They have no idea. Nice.
The Overwatch League is brought to you by T-Mobile. High ground or low ground, T-Mobile has you covered.